going to be solving the December 2024 question 8, which is the same question in June 2023 question 5, okay, in past papers. So let's start with the first entry here. So the first entry we have 0 times 0, right? So a is 0, and then we're going to say plus b is 0 times c, which is also a 0. So this will give us a 0. So write our 0 there. Then we're going to come to the second slot here. We're going to say this is 0 plus our b is 0 times 1. So this is also a 0. So write a 0. Then we're going to come to this slot. These entries will have 0 plus b is 1 times c, which is 0, is going to give us a 0. So 0 plus 0 is 0. And we're going to say 0 plus a is going to be 0, b and c are 1. So 1 times 1, so it's going to give us a 1. Okay, so a is 0, b and c is 1, so we're going to have what? We're going to have a 1. Then here we're going to go for this entry. So in this entry a is 1, then b is 0 times c, which is what? Which is 0. So we're going to have a 1. We're going to have another 1 here. Then this entry we're going to have a, which is 1, plus b, which is 0. 0 times 1, okay, c, which is 1. So we're going to have a 1 here. So we have a 1. Let's look for 5 and 1, 1, 0. So here we're going to have a 1 plus b, which is a 1, multiplied by a c, which is a what? A 0. So you're going to have here we're going to have 1 plus 1. Okay, so this will give us a 0. So we're going to say a is 1, b is 1, a is 1, and a is 1, b is 1, and then c is what? C is actually 0. So it's still going to be a 1. Okay, when we come to the last entry, 1, then 1 times 1. So 1 times 1 will give us 1, so 1 plus 1 will give us 0, and the remainder of what? Of 1. So it's going to be a 0 with the remainder of what? Of 1. So we come to the second part. So on the second part, for the first entries, which are all zeros, we're going to say 0 times 1 plus 0 times 0. This will give us 0. So we have a 0. Then a here is 0 multiplied by a is 0 multiplied by b, which is going to become a 1, plus multiplied by 0, okay, because b is a 0, times c, which is a 1. So 0 times 1 will be 0, 0 times 1 will be 0, so we're going to have a 0. So we have a 0 there. Then we're going to have this entry. So a is a 0, okay. A is a 0 multiplied by b complement, which will be a 0 because b is 1. We're going to say 1, which is b is 1, times c, which is 1. So what we're going to have is a 1. So here we have an entry of 1. And then we'll come to this entry of 0, 1, 1. 0, 1, 1. So a is 0. A is 0, and then b is 1, which is also a 0, plus, so b is 1, translated to a 0 here. We're going to say multiplied by b, which is a 1, multiplied by c, which is a 1. So 1 times 1 will give us a 1, so we have a 1 here. Then here, for this entry, we're going to say a is a 1, multiplied by a is a 1 multiplied by b, which is going to become 1, but it's 0 here because of the complement. Then we say plus b, which is 0 multiplied by c, which is 0. Okay, so we're going to say 1 times 1 will be 1, So this is going to become a 1 here. Then we are going to go to the next entry where A is a 1, and then multiplied by the B, which is a 0, which is going to be represented as 1 because of the complement, plus 0, which is B, times our C, which is 1. So here we are going to have a 1. 1 times 1 is 1, 0 times 1 is 0, so 0 plus 1 is 1. And then here we're going to have, for this entry, A is a 1 multiplied by B multiplied by B complement, so which is going to be 0 plus B which is a 1 multiplied by our C, which is a 0. Okay, so we have 1 0 1 0, so this is 0 and this is 0, so we have a 0, so here we have a 0. And then we have 1, A is a 1 multiplied by B multiply A is a 1 multiplied by B which is a 1, so it's going to become the complement, plus then B is going to be a 1 multiplied by a C, which is going to be 1. So here we're going to have a 1. Okay, 1. So these are the entries that we're going to have, the first two columns like this. Okay, so we come to this entry here. So the first time we just have 0 0 everything. So this is 0 times 1 plus 1 times 1 times 0. So this will be 0 0, which will give us 0. So here we have a 0 as our first entry there. We have a 0 as our first entry. Then we have A, which is a 0, multiplied by B, which is a 0, multiplied with a C bar, which is a 0 in this case, plus A bar, which is 1, multiplied by B bar, which is a 1, multiplied by a C, which is a 1 in this case. So A is going to become a 1, B is going to become a 1. Okay, so in this case we are going to have 1. So at this point we have a what? We have a 1. Then we go for the third entry. For the third entry, A is going to be 0, multiplied by second entry of B, which is 1, multiplied by C okay, I've gotten the different entry. So A is 0, B is 1, and then C is also, make it 1 to 0, but because of the complement becomes 1, plus A complement 1, plus B complement becomes 0 times C is going to be 0. Okay, so here we have 0. Okay, so this entry has a 0. So we have a 0 there. So then we come to the fourth entry. So in this entry, A is a 0, multiplied by B, which is a 1, multiplied by our C, which is the 1 complement 0. Then here we have A complement, which is 1. Here we have A complement, which is a 1, multiplied by B complement, which is a 0, multiplied by C, which is a 1. So 0 times everything 0 have a 0. So this entry has a 0. Okay. So we come to this entry here. Okay. We come to this entry. So we have a 1 here. So A is a 1. A is a 1. Then B is a 0. A is a 1. B is a 0. Then C is also a 0, which becomes a 1. Plus A complement 0. Okay. Multiplied by B complement, which becomes a 1. So here we're just going to have a 0. This is already 0, this is already 0, so it's going to become a 0. In these entries for 101, A is 1, B is 0, then C is 1. C is 1, then plus A complement 0 multiplied by B complement of 1 is going to be a 0. We already have 0, so this is 0. So then we go to the last two entries. We're going to have A with a 1 multiplied by B with a 0. Okay, so we already know we have 0 this side. And here we're going to have A complement, which is going to be 0 multiplied by B complement, which is a 0. So we already have a 0. So this is a 0. In here we're going to have 1. A is 1 times B, which is 1 times C, which will be a 0, plus A, which is going to be a 0, and B, which is going to be a 0, times C, which is a 1, so we have a 0, so we also have a 0. So this is how you're going to be putting in the entries on that. So you're going to be putting the entries into this chart. So this is December 2024, question 8, and June 2023, question 5. So this is how you solve it. So it's quite awesome to be going through binaries.